What's up everyone, it's Dakota and welcome back to another Modern video, and today we're going to be showing off the Ruby Storm deck that we looked at on Monday. We're going to be doing just a quick overview of what we're trying to do with this deck here, so if you want a longer, more in-depth kind of deck tech, I do have a video that went up on Monday about this exact list that we are looking at today and playing today, so if you want that, go ahead and check out that video after you watch this one, of course. So the long and the short of it, we are trying to get either a Ral, Monsoon, Mage, or a Ruby Medallion in play. It's going to make our red spells cost 1 less to cast, which makes our Desperate Rituals and Pyretic Rituals that much better, being able to essentially make them red dark rituals. Then we are trying to cast a bunch of spells. With Ral, we have an extra benefit of our spells costing less, and then if we end up having enough spells to cast, we can flip him and use his -8 ability, thanks to the fact that he enters with extra loyalty counters for each instant sorcery spell we cast this turn, and then basically gets us some more card advantage, gets us going. We're going to end up looking for a Wish and then casting one of our Storm payoffs, either an Empty the Warrens or a Grape Shot, and if we don't have enough to necessarily go off and win with either of those cards, we can go get a Galvanic Relay to end up looking at a ton of cards and basically set up for next turn. On the sideboard, we have some mid-range type options. We have Flage Titan of Fire's Fury, which has been an excellent card so far in the Modern format, and I don't see it really slowing down anytime soon. We have some Orm's Chance and Static Prison, some other cards from Modern Horizons 3. Static Prison just being a way to exile an annoying permanent and then having to pay energy to kind of have it stick around. Orm's Chant being able to stop target player from casting a spell or casting spells this turn, and if it's kicked, it essentially can act like a fog. These creatures then can't attack this turn. So some interesting things going on here, some really cool cards, and potential turn 2 wins and things like that. So hopefully with the match that we get into today, we can kind of show that off. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our match. Alrighty, so here we are for our match here. We are on the draw, which we'll find out if it's a good or bad thing. We reveal Jengotha. Look at our hand. We have a bunch of cost reducers and a Rend Resolve Pyretic Ritual. I think this hand is a keep. Well, it doesn't win on turn 2 unless we draw like a Strike It Rich. It looks like we're possibly playing against like Titan. Okay, so we know that this Ral is going to be pretty good. And actually with like Ruby Medallion 2, we're going to be able to go kind of crazy. Basically just hoping that they don't have like a crazy, insane like draw. I mean, they did keep 7, so they probably do. Like, they could just like play a bounce land and play like a Dryad and kind of keep doing things. Or second Saga. Let's go and get the Elegant Paula. Reckless Impulse. I don't think we want that. I think we want more rituals. Glimpse the Impossible. So we go... So we can go Pyretic Ritual into Ruby Medallion into Impulse, and then we just have like a bunch of cards for next turn, but I mean we also can just... I think we'll just play Ral. We'll play Ral Pass. And then that next turn we'll have plenty of other things to do. Essentially our bottleneck now is going to be mana. So I mean, even drawing a land isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, because while we're not going to get a huge discount for like our ritual and Rend Resolves and all that, if we do draw a land, we can go Ruby Medallion, red mana, play ritual, and then we have Glimpse the Impossible to get 3 cards, and then Reckless Impulse before we have to then find another land. So currently here, if they have a bounce land, which they more than likely do, they are able to produce a Titan. So, I mean, we'll see what they have going on here. I mean, I would only assume that it would be kind of like a slam dunk, that they would just like play the bounce land, make their mana, use their floating mana, plus Urza Saga, play Titan or Summoner's Pact for Titan. But I think with what we have here, they have to kill us this turn, or we're going to very likely win the game. Like, we could even go like Pyretic Ritual for a mana, Ruby Medallion, and then play something like a Reckless Impulse. But it looks like they're just going Vesuva, copy Urza Saga. So I mean, this could just even be a 1-ring. Tap, untap, so then 4 mana, just play a ring, get protection. Or make a construct. I'm more than happy with that. So unless they're playing like main deck Dismember, I mean, we're in pretty good shape here. So we draw Manamorphose too. So if we go Pyretic, we can go Pyretic Ritual, get 3 mana, have 1 mana left. We end up seeing like a ton of cards, so I think we should go Pyretic Ritual. Tails, you won the flip. Would you like to use Rouse ability? No. We'll go this. It doesn't matter. Do this. We'll draw some cards. Tails never fails. Heads, you lost the flip, so we get delta damage. Red. Don't think we're getting white, so we'll go red, red. We can go Glimpse. Tails never fails. It's always Tails, so that's 3. Strike it rich, technically. Alright, so we have land. Desperate Ritual. Tail, head, you lose the flip. Cast this. We can flash back the Strike it rich from our graveyard for a mana. Heads, flip. So we cast 6 spells before this, so believe that gives us enough. Yes, I'll use Rouse ability. Generate a treasure token. -8 and get us some more cards here. So we have a Pyretic Ritual. Pay with cast out paying its mana cost. We'll go. I don't think I really want any of these cards. We can go Valakut's Awakening. Probably just that. I mean, this will get to draw us 2 cards. Manamorphose is going to generate some mana. Can go red, white. Desperate Ritual, so we're up to 11. Cast without paying its mana cost. Cast with the red. Cast without paying its mana cost. Pay single red mana, get more cards. Manamorphose. Red, red. Desperate Ritual. Reckless Impulse. Pay its mana cost, we'll go Wish. Go to the sideboard. So what you may outside the game this turn, so it's not even necessarily a. So do that, and then we'll go get Grape Shot, target our opponent. Same targets to everything. So while not a turn 2 kill, it is a turn 3 kill. So let's go ahead, sideboard here. Against Titan, we could bring in the Static Prisons. Just don't know how. I don't know if we want to prioritize. Like, I think being on the draw, I mean, like, they have to win on essentially turn 2 if we keep a decent hand. So I think I'm going to keep this hand, or keep it like this. And we'll see how it goes. All right, so game 2 against Titan. Probably one of the most unfair decks to play against in modern, like, pre-MH3. At least I would argue one of them, just because they are very difficult to kind of navigate in that. So this hand's interesting. While we do have a cost reducer, we don't really have any. I mean, like, especially if they're mulliganing, they also mulligan pretty well too. We do have a fetch land, so we could get a surveil land. We have a draw step plus, you know, a few more looks at it to find a second land. And if we do, like, is this hand really all that great? I mean, we have Manamorphose to play on the next turn that nets us some mana, and like these Rens resolve. Like, I think we kind of have the luxury of having game one on the draw, that we can kind of keep this hand and we can hopefully draw into a second land to kind of go off. Because, I mean, well, this deck doesn't necessarily want to find, you know, obviously all of its lands. It is playing like 18 lands or something like that. You do obviously at least want 2 lands to be able to cast like your spells and whatnot. I guess if this hand also technically finds a Strike It Rich, that's going to give us mana for at least like that turn to cast Ruby Medallion. So Wooded Foothills go. So our opponent leading again on Urza Saga on turn 1. They mulligan to 5. So I mean, we'll kind of see. We'll see what happens here. So Forest, Outlaws a Thunder Junction Forest, and pass. So I mean, this could be a Beseiju. Go and get the Elegant Parlor. And we will keep that on top. So I think here, I'm going to fetch. I'm expecting them to potentially Beseiju. So I'm going to kind of set us up for next turn and play a Ren's Resolve. So then this way we have access to a few extra cards next turn. I guess the Manamorphose is kind of free. So, I mean, we can, in the worst case, draw an extra card and then set ourselves up for the next turn. Kind of looking for Ral at this point. You know, they're going to go get an Amulet, presumably. They could play a bounce land and then play a Dryad of the Elysian Grove is a potential play to them. I mean, they could also just naturally play like a second land, like a forest or something like that, and kind of do the same thing. What we really want, I think we kind of want a... we definitely want a Ral. I think if we draw a Ral and we can go like Ritual, like Manamorphose. All right, so they play a bounce land. I think I definitely want like a Ral. 4 mana, so this is a ring, sure. That is fine. That is a way to undo a mulligan, and it is a pretty effective way to undo a mulligan. So let's see what we find here. If we find a land that's pretty good to cast these glimpses. No, we just find a wish. So we'll cast this. Kind of keep the cards going. Strike It Rich, not very good. Definitely want to find... I want to find a third land, because I don't think I want to expose this Ruby Medallion. Potential graveyard. I mean, we have multiple Past in Flames, so I'm just going to ditch the Past in Flames. I don't know if Double Wish is any better necessarily than having just the single copy of Past in Flames, but, you know, it kind of is what it is. At this point, I mean, I guess they're looking for multiple amulets, so, I mean, this is a game that we could potentially just get punked out. I mean, at this point now, we're trying to find, like, another land, so then we can try to potentially, like, preferably draw land so we don't have to discard any more cards, but, you know, if they tap pretty low, then we can... play a Ruby Medallion, like find like a land naturally, play a Ruby Medallion, and then try to kind of go off. You know, like we're definitely bottlenecked on mana. We're not short of card advantage here. Glimpse the Impossible would have been like a great card available to cast last turn. All right, so we know that they have a bounce land in hand, so they can generate 4 mana. And we're basically just kind of yielding through the turn here. We don't have anything we can do. So as we kind of commentate and see what they can do, they end up bouncing the forest, so they want to prioritize having the lands in hand. More than likely, probably draw another bounce land, and there's passing. So, I mean, that's 6 mana next turn. So we can go... I think we're kind of, like, in for trying to win this turn, so we can Ruby Medallion, Manamorphose for mana, and then we can just naturally try to Storm. Like, that's what I'm guessing they have, is just a Beseiju in hand to blow up a Ruby Medallion if they need to. And that's why that they left the Sanctuary in play and left it in untap. There's no reason to play anything. Pyretic Ritual, okay, so... Go Pyretic. Alright, I mean, they're not doing anything, so I mean, we'll go... Strike It Rich is essentially a free spell. Past in Flames cost currently 4 mana, and that's all we have, so Reckless. Pyretic. So we have 1 mana left, so we can go if we go past In Flames now, I guess they so we can go this for 2 mana, we get look at 3 cards, so we can look at like 5 cards before we end up having to do anything. Problem is if we go past In Flames, 4 mana, we do have 1 mana left. We have Ritual, Manamorphose. We're not playing this deck to not go for it, so this is probably where if they have Besage You, they should play it. And we just have access to a ton of mana. We'll say probably not necessarily the smartest thing to like go for in that spot, but it is what it is. Control, so then we'll go Manamorphose. Red mana, we have a Ren's Resolve. Go Ritual. We can cast Strike It Rich. I mean, it does, I guess it does matter, because if we cast it for its actual flashback, then we can't really do anything. So we'll Wish. Cast something from our sideboard. That we can go for something like a... So the card I'm kind of worried about is Weather the Storm. We can cast like Orum's Chant and kind of stop them from being able to cast spells. Or I guess like we can even... like, because if we go for Grape Shot, I mean, we do have another Wish in hand too, so it's not the worst thing in the world. We'll kind of keep this off to the side here. Go Impulse. Should have just done it from the graveyard. Another Ruby Medallion goes to 3. But then we go 2, 1. We gotta look at like 6 more cards. So we can go... So we go to 2, then... So we go to 4, then 2. If we cast Ruby Medallion... I wonder, are Titan decks playing Ren's Resolve? So is this... Oh, they cast a chant. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's not what I was expecting from them. Keeping it a buck like a dollar store. I believe these cards can just be played until our next turn anyway, so I guess we'll put the Elk in our hand. Pass the turn, I guess they potentially have a kill on their turn. We still have a Wish, we have a Glimpse. All these cards can be played on our next turn. We'd have a land drop. Somehow hoping in the top 15 cards they don't have a way to assemble a Titan here, but I mean, chances are they do. And if they don't, I mean, like, we have Ral plus Ruby Medallion and whatnot, so I mean, this is kind of the turn for them to do it. Again, presumably they have like a way to assemble a Titan. Or I guess this could be the big dude. The plant Colossus or whatever. So, we'll see. So I'm guessing 9 mana. This is probably the... Yeah, Cultivator Colossus. Sure. 1 land in play, so we'll kind of see. They're going to end up dumping their handful of lands. They have Beseiju. Battlements. Currently no way of making red mana. Still no way to make red mana. I guess that works. Valakut, okay, so then yeah, they can give it haste. Can they kill us? I guess this also can just make a copy of... Oh, but I guess they don't have any lands in hand, so it's making a copy of this thing. If put a land card in your hand into play. So, we'll see how this goes. So, they have all these in play. I mean, they have to have Delirium like this. They can give it haste. They can make a copy, but I don't think it does anything. I mean, they have 8 spells in hand, so I doubt that they don't have a kill from this. I would be very shocked. Even if they just, I guess making another copy of the One Ring doesn't really do anything. I'm sure making another copy of Amulet does not do anything. Well, I guess depending on what they have, I suppose. I mean, they more than likely found like a Titan with this. We're just essentially looking for the Titan, because they can leave a red untapped and then leave the Hanware Battlements untapped. They can give the Cultivator Colossus haste. And we're essentially just waiting for them to play a Titan. Once they do, I mean, we know that they can give it haste, they can go search up some more lands, they can deal us 20 right to our face. Oh, just waiting. They gotta bounce some lands too, so maybe they forget and they bounce like the Hanware Battlements. I also think maybe it's impossible too, because they can just copy a Cultivator Colossus. So I guess that's where we're essentially waiting for them to either copy Cultivator or copy Cultivator and then give it haste, or play, alright, the 3rd copy of Amulet, so they have 4 in play. Dryad, sure. I guess that is another land drop. Dryad, sure. They can just start playing lands. They can make a copy of Cultivator Colossus. I think they bounce like 3 lands, so I mean, that's 3, 6, 9 damage. Plus this. Your pool copy. Yeah, alright, we're good. Alright. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Probably a misstep, because we could have Alchemist Gambit. Because even if they stopped us, we'd take an extra turn. Oh well. Just going to resubmit. So we get to be on the play. Reveal our companion, and no lands. No lands. Well, both those hands would have been great if they had lands. Opponent mulligans to 6, we're going to mull to 5. And I suppose we just go bottom these 2, play Wooded Foothills. We definitely need to keep the Row, the Ritual, the Wish. I think need at least 2 lands to be able to cast like any of the things here. They mulligan to 5 as well, so Titan, I think, definitely mulligans a heck of a lot better than this deck does. So, I mean, unfortunately, more than likely no turn 2 kills, because we're going to need to least on 5 cards. Like this hand even, or excuse me, like this deck in particular can win on turn 2, even if it doesn't have Strike It Rich on turn 1. It's just kind of like plays out the same way where you don't have to use a ritual before you get the discounted mana. And we already have an Amulet inbound. The Nut 5. Let's see what we got going on here. Fetch. Probably looking just for another 2-mana ritual. Not another land. So if we go Ritual, Ral, go up to 3 mana, Wish, does not do anything. So if we go Ral this turn, then we go Ritual to 3, 2 to 5, down to 3. We can go get Galvanic Relay, and we cast 1, 2, 3, 4. So we get access to 4 more cards with Ral. Yeah, so. Alright, opponent has the potential to just win the game on the spot. If they can go, like, Amulet Bounce Land into Grazer. Wow, do they really just have, like, the perfect 5-card hand? I mean, Dryad doesn't do it necessarily. Oh, they just have the 1 ring. Okay. Oddly okay with the 1 ring. Probably one of the few times in history someone was happy to see that card. So then Galvanic Relay is going to cost how much mana? During your next turn, you may play that card. Chances are, I don't know if we get another turn, though, because, I mean, they're going to... So we can Ritual, Wish, Galvanic Relay. That's 4 spells. This only flips to 7. Go Ritual. So 3, 5, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We make 8 1/1s. That is probably not that good. We can go. Pass and Flames doesn't do anything because we need the Wish. So 5, 3. 2. We have 1. Ritual up to 3, 5. 2 Relay. Hold on. So I think if we go Ritual, I think the land helps too. So we go Ritual, Wish, go get Past in Flames. So 3 to 5. 3 to 5 to 1. Yeah, I think that's our best bet. So we go Ritual. No. Ritual. Oh shoot! I don't want to respond. Don't want to respond to my own Ritual. I would like the mana from it first, please. Three. Lost the flip. All right. All right. Past in Flames costs 3. Lost the flip. Deal me another damage. Ritual. So that's the 5th spell. All right, now we would like to win one of the next 2. No. Win the flip. Yes. Cast with Flashback, so we have this. Where are my exiled cards? Hello? Oh, okay, here they are. And a very small window in the corner. Pause, pause. Go. Guess this route, right? Pause. Go. Go. Do that. You'll pass the place on graveyard. Next turn. No. I don't take land. This is all I can do. Can't play next turn, so I don't work either. Or why I can't play this. Just don't tell me that why I can't. I'm trying to wish you, which is a little unfortunate. Partner. And graveyard. So that's our first side. We're 15 storm, we could just do one for a ton. We do still have protection. No, that was waiting, cost me one less. I go 2 mana. That's fine. 50 cards. Red. We can get another wish, we can. Go. Game knowledge doesn't work, so first base out of 2 here, so. Has the things for 4 mana. Cast this one. Things gonna cost us, This ritual. And with those. Strike Witch. So many these cards. Goes less. This is just cycles. Heretic. Order. Simple 3 cards. So it cast a ton of spells. Makes it's not actually through all the tokens. This one. Lightning Claws. Try to wish, please. Bulls. So we'll go. They just run around. Short Witch. Search all. And Orthos. And go. Wait. Maybe more Sword Rush. Yeah, we'll just auto yield to the turn. Alright, that took forever, but I mean, we are now having a ton of goblins in play. Our opponent is, I would imagine, virtually dead. They do get another turn. Damn ring. Just make sure at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose game protection from everything until your next turn. So unfortunately, our opponent does not skip their next turn. Sideboard. Yeah. Unfortunately, we cannot cast that at instant speed, so the chance not gonna really do much. So that's a lot of goblins. And these can be played until the next turn. Oh, and we crashed Moto. Wow. Wow. We did it, y'all. We made enough tokens to crash the game. Wow. All right, I guess we'll come back to it when it decides it's done. All right, so our opponent didn't end up showing back up for our game 4, so we got the rare, winning the match, 3 wins to 1. Absolutely insane. So, yeah, even though Dakota reads his cards over and over again and knows that, hey, Alchemist Gambit gets around protection, we definitely did it for the content of just going for a huge Empty the Warrens, putting a Flage in play, and just saying, all right, opponent, the ridiculous outline that we had where they have Cultivator Colossus ×3 and all their lands in play, and they wouldn't even necessarily cobble together a kill, but definitely would get kind of close. But I don't think that's super possible for the current builds of Titan. But we just took down one of the more unfair decks of the format, and it's kind of fun to say that when you're the Storm deck, which historically, through most of Modern's history, obviously not as of late before MH3, but being the bad guy was kind of fun. A lot of things I liked about this deck, while we didn't have any turn 1 Strike Your Riches or getting to go having the chance to go Ritual into Ral to kind of continue to go off as well, wasn't necessarily a thing that we went for. not feeling like we had to go for it. But that game 3 that we had where we just played a Ral on turn 2 pass, and then turn 3 just got to go, rituals into our Wish, into going into our sideboard. We were going to go for a Galvanic Relay, and then we just ended up actually going off and killing our opponent, which was pretty insane. And, from there, I mean, we obviously could have Gambit to, get around the ring protection and be able to do our thing. But, again, man of the people, we're just going to put like 100 plus power into play and tell our opponent to figure it out. So, a few things I liked about the deck. Again, just seems like it was very powerful and consistent. Even like on a Mold of 5 where I thought we were going to be pretty lackluster, it actually ended up being, I believe, the hand that we ended up like turn 3 absolutely just going off. So definitely a skill that you want to recognize and like be able to do with this deck is to kind of figure out where your bottleneck is and prioritize, like, if you're short on mana, then you want to prioritize like when you cast your rituals and try to get as much of a discount as possible on your rituals to be able to, maximize the amount of cards that you're going to be able to play, with being able to have, a Ruby Medallion or a Ral in play. And being able to cast like a ritual, like the fact that you can cast Pyretic Ritual or Desperate Ritual, and then you have 4 looks at cards, or if you can even get, another Ruby Medallion in play with a Ral, then casting Glimpse the Impossible for a mana and getting to look at potentially 6 cards, more than likely, 4 to 6 cards between, any combination of Impulse and Glimpse, and, you're just kind of in business because you're more than likely going to find another ritual to kind of keep chaining and going off and whatnot. The deck is very consistent. It is very good. It's been a long, long time since I've played like a Storm deck, and again, kind of short of just playing Gambit instead of just passing with a ton of creatures in play, which really didn't matter because Moto was going to crash anyway. We did the thing, and this deck is kind of got my seal of approval, and I think could potentially be a problem going forward. We could see something like Desperate Ritual end up getting the axe. I don't think any of these like impulse effects will get anything, or maybe even Manamorphose as well, because like this is a card that for a while probably doesn't really need to exist, but it is what it is. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like on it. Comment down below, if you've had some crazy games and stuff, if Moto's crashed on you, if you've been playing this deck and whatnot. Subscribe to the channel, of course, as always. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all later.